What is up, fight fans? We got Glove Talk, episode 18. I'm here with my boy Jose.
What up?
Here to go over the UFC Fight Night, Josh Emmett versus Ilya Topuria, and then we're gonna go over the UFC Fight Night, Sean Strickland versus Magomedov next week, Saturday. So I'm starting off here at the prelims. We got Cody Brundage versus Digas Dumas, aka Boot Gang. Boot Gang though, I ended up stealing the win here and getting away, running away here. Dominating here, showing that he's better on the feet, and showing him better on the wrestling as well, which Brendan is known for. But Cedric is a big middleweight, so lengthy
Yeah,
guy.
and a little bit of devil's advocate here. I know that Brunge took this fight on short notice, but no, Cedricus Dumas on the ground looked insane, man. I was very shocked, as was just about anybody watching the fight, how good he looked in the grappling, how good he looked stuffing takedowns. Didn't really look threatened at all on the ground in that fight. And Cody Brunge was tired, man. He was gassed. And Cedricus Dumas, there wasn't a lot of fighting on the feet, but when there was, he was dominating the clinch game. He did a really good job, Cedricus Dumas. I'm impressed.
Fights out of top team.
No.
Fights out of Florida though.
Yeah, he fights out of Florida. He just switched camps. But he fights out in North Florida somewhere. But anyways, with him, 8-1 now. He looked really good. Good win for him in his home state.
Better than the last fight.
Yeah, and I think the judge that gave a round to Cody Brundage at 29-28, that's very generous. Cedricus Dumas was not losing a single moment in that fight, if we're being brutally honest. But yeah, good from him. Good win. We'll see what the UFC does with him. He's a big middleweight, man. Definitely unique in his fight style. So, yeah, good win.
And then the next fight we had Jamal Emmers versus I'm fan of Jack Jenkins, but this fight he didn't really, didn't show what he usually shows. Barely out striking Jamal, and then 1-for-1 for the takedowns and able to stop Jamal's takedowns. I think Jamal was like 1 for like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So stopping the takedowns, showing his takedown defense, but usually he gets finishes and usually he's more of a scrapper. But it's a good win, I guess. But something I'm used to him being more exciting. So.
Yeah. The judge that gave us a 30-27 to Jamal Emmers, that's very questionable. I think 2-1.
Judges.
Yeah, 2-1 to Jack Jenkins, I think, is the fair score. Yeah, Jack Jenkins wasn't as imposing as he usually is, but he did what he had to do. Could have been fighting injured. I don't know. There was times he didn't look the same from his other fights, but he still did a really good job. Jamal Emmers is not an easy fight at all. Jamal Emmers very much in his face, very active. But Jack Jenkins did a good job pushing through, man. Yeah, those Aussie guys, man, they're fun. They're fun to watch fight, man. They definitely are down for a fight and scrap. It wasn't a bad fight. It's like you said, it was a little bit disappointing as fans of Jack Jenkins. Kind of expected a bit more, but still, a win's a win. You got to take them how they come, man. It was a good fight. It was not a bad fight at all.
Yep, and then the next fight, the real fight of the night, the fight that I think was probably the best fight, probably a contender for fight of the year, Trevor Peek versus Chipe Mariscal. And Mariscal, getting the decision win here, which I think was, justified. Even him getting a 30-27 is justified, but it was still a very close fight, a very entertaining fight. You had on the feet exchanges, you had grappling exchanges, you had both guys getting hurt. This was a banger fight. And then Trevor Peek, the only critique I'll give to him is his cardio. He needs to get his cardio back up, and then his hands start getting low when he gets tired. So, get in the gym, get that cardio up there, because this is only a 3-round fight. If you want to be contender, you got to get it 5 rounds in. So,
right. And for Chebe Mariscal, man, it's good for him. Good to see him finally getting his flowers. Fights out of Elevation, training partner of Kamaru and Justin Gaethje. And even this is his UFC debut. He's got some big fights on his resume. Lost to Gregor Gillespie for a title at ROC. Lost to Bryce Mitchell for a title fight in V3. Beat Pat Sabatini. Beat Yusuf Zalal. Lost to Steve Garcia and Sean Soriano. So, this guy has a resume. He's a very good fighter. He's got experience, man. And, shout out to Trevor Peek, man. He might not have won that fight, but, man, the heart that he showed, the chin that he has, and he's a guy who he looked better. He looks better in some areas than his last fight. And then obviously there's parts that you see he needs to work on, whether it's the cardio or the technique as well, the technique and the grappling. But I think he'll keep getting better and better. I think Trevor Peek, if you have that toughness and that heart, as long as you put the work in, you are going to get better in the fight game. And for Trevor Mariscal, man, very good fight from him, man. He definitely showed that he belongs. I definitely can't wait to see more out of him. Glad he finally made it to the big show. You can tell he's a solid fighter. You can tell he trains with Justin Gaethje the way he fights, man. He's just chaos, and I love guys that fight so chaotic. This was such a perfect stylistic match. Trevor Peek throwing overhand, backhand, like stuff that you just don't see. But that's the beauty of the fight game. When guys get in there and put it all on the line, us as fans, we watch that and we're like, okay, this is what draws me back to the sport. Guys that don't play it safe, guys that don't aren't scared of getting knocked out. They just put it all out there on the line. And yeah, it was a very good fight. Definitely fight of the night, in my opinion. Probably fight of the year, unless something drastic happens, which could from here till the end of the year. It was just such a fun fight. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. We texted each other how that got some claps out of us, that fight. And it was very, very good, man. I want to see more out of both these guys, man. Great fighters, great fight. Can't complain.
Next fight we had a flyweight bout versus Zaglis Zurmagomedov versus Joshua Van. Joshua Van, known to be a guy, the first fight in UFC, known to be a guy out here getting finishes. I think he's won like 6 straight, and but ended up getting the split decision here, which split decision I don't know is a little I don't know
Sus.
about
Very
that, but
sus.
I think he won the fight, but he also should have I think got the finish here, which he didn't get. But Zaglis showing how strong he is and how tough he is. He's just a durable flyweight. Nothing special. Well rounded. Nothing too good though in any area.
Yeah, and for Joshua Van, man, the improvement on his striking, so clean, man. He reminds me of Brandon Royval, the way he fights, man. Like just the striking is so crisp, and he almost finished Zamagulov in the second round, and the ref was gonna step in, and Zamagulov somehow just wouldn't fall and took all that damage. Joshua Van came out after the fight, said he wants to be the most active fighter in the promotion. He's 21, man. He's definitely got the talent to do it. I loved what I saw out of him, man. Joshua Van definitely looks like a very good prospect at flyweight. Again, 8-1, only 21 years old. Not an easy win yesterday, but he got it done, and he did it in convincing fashion. That split decision was very suspect. I think it was very clearly 2-1 Joshua Van. Um, and his striking. That's what I go back to. The lower you get in the weight classes, the more technical these fighters get, and the technique was definitely there for Joshua Van. Excited to see what other fights they got for him at flyweight. I think he has one or two more fights before they give him a ranked fight, but if he keeps up the activity level, he'll definitely get one soon.
Yeah, just to add on to what you said about more technical fights at the lighter weight classes, that's because they have more weight, so they have less power. So they're not out here just getting a lot of one shot knockouts. So you have to string together more technique to win. Um, so in the next fight, a shocker to me. Not really a shocker, but just the fact that Topuria goes out there and destroys Gillian Robertson. And this just shows like just because the guy is an analyst for the UFC doesn't mean he's good like coaching because Dean Thomas, I feel like the whole time was just really, he was saying the right thing to her, but he really wasn't being instructive. He was just saying, go forward, go forward. Like, but that's just that's too bland of a statement because you don't know, like, go forward with what way? Like, with more kicks, with more, you go forward and you just get punched. So, Topuria, she's showing that showing that she was better, stopping the takedowns, better on the feet. And she impressed me this fight, and I'm still a fan. And I was scared for her this fight. I thought she might have got submitted, but she goes out there and destroys her. So good
Yeah,
win.
yeah, no, Tabitha Ritchie definitely impressed me. I love how she used her takedowns, not necessarily create offense, but kind of just get Julian Robertson out of rhythm. She would take her
That
down,
judo, bro. That
hold
judo
her.
background.
Yeah, that black belt in judo. Take her down, hold her down, then get back up, and she dominated her on the feet as well. She was landing the harder shots, the more accurate shots. I feel like Jillian Robertson was trying to chase a submission too much in a sense, even on the feet, because you could tell that her main goal was to get her to the ground, right? But you have to fight the way the fight's going. You can't seek out a certain finish and stuff because if that opportunity doesn't open up, you have no plan B in your game plan. I think that's what happened with Jillian Robertson, where Tabitha Ritchie was showing she was better in all facets, and Jillian Robertson just didn't know what to do. And all that Dean Thomas was telling her is, like you said, go forward. And that doesn't do anything because Tabitha Ritchie, if you go forward on her, she hits you 1-2 and she slips out. 1-2 slip. Like that's what won the fight, in my opinion,
It was
was
the
Tabitha
forward.
Ritchie. Her footwork on the feet. Yep,
Yeah.
she was unhittable the whole fight. Very good win. She said she doesn't mind waiting another year to keep fighting and earn her title shot rather than get accelerate up the rankings. She's so good, man. She is so well faceted in every area of mixed martial arts. I'm excited to see more out of her. Before we go to the next fight, just a small housekeeping thing. One fight did get canceled on this card. Clayton Rodriguez versus Tatsuhiro Taira, which we both wanted to see that fight. Clayton Rodriguez came in 4 pounds overweight. Um, yeah, shout out to him, man. We appreciate it, taking us away from a great fight. Thanks, Clayton. What a guy.
And then going into the lightweight division, we had Rebetsky versus Loic
Radzabov.
Radzabov. Ended up, finishing him with leg kicks. Destroying the guy's legs, destroying both his legs, destroying one of his legs, and then when he was up against the cage, using the cage to hold himself up, he ends up destroying his other leg, and then ended up getting him out of there. Ref stopping the fight because the guy was just not trying to fight back. So great win out of here. Rebetsky, just showed that Polish power. You know what they say about the Polish guys. Jan Blachowicz, and this guy as well. And showing that he's got like Justin Gaethje like leg kicks, and they were talking about it. The commentator was talking about how they talk about how I think they said who was talking about his leg kicks? Some UFC fighter, some Hall of Famer.
Mm.
Um,
Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
yeah, was talking about his leg kicks. So no,
Yeah.
it was a guy, but we can go with that too.
Yeah, well, Joanna too, because he trains out of American Top Team, and everybody remember that name, Mateusz Rumbetsky, because this guy is going to be a problem at lightweight. He's only 30. He is insanely strong. He's insanely good. 18-1. I think. Listen, you know what fight would interest me at lightweight? Well, of course, he has to earn it to get it. But imagine a fight between him and like Mateusz Gamrot. That would be
I
so
want
good.
to I want to see him fight Vaziev.
Yeah, exactly. Him and Fiziev would be insane as well. Like this guy definitely has big fights written all over him, right? And for Loic Radzhabov, he came in overweight as well, and Rumbetsky just killed his legs, man. Every time those leg kicks landed, it gave out every time. And then the overhand to finish the fight, like he has so much power, so good grappling as well. He's a very underrated grappler, Rumbetsky. But I'm excited to see more out of him, man. I'm very glad that we got this fight. We got to see him showcase what he's best at, especially in front of a crowd. I think fighting a fight night in front of a crowd definitely hits better than fighting at the Apex, if we're being honest, right? And for the fans, even us at home watching it, like it reminded me of the William Knight Prohachnio fight. Just leg kick after leg kick, man. You're
It's
just sitting
bad
there.
though, not as bad.
Not as bad, but it reminded me in a way just how proficient the leg kicks were because
I think that was the William Knight fight was the worst fight I ever seen in my life.
oh, I agree, 100%. But no, Rumbetsky, man, he broke his toe actually with those leg kicks, and he kept going and going. But it's a good win for him, man. I can't wait to see what they do with him at lightweight. He's very exciting to watch, very exciting. Yeah, man, Polish power. You can't bet against the Polish fighters, man. You just can't.
Next fight, we got Randy Brown coming back off his knockout loss to Jack Miller Della Lena, but
Yeah,
fighting Wellington Turman, a guy who went out there looking just like Alex Pereira. Like, come on
yeah,
now, like. And then if he would have kept what he was doing in the first round, he would have been able to win this fight. But ended up letting that slip. Randy Brown showing his more skill than on the ground and grabbing and the grappling a little bit. But Wellington, he had a good first round, but he did look just like Pereira. I don't know what. I know he trains with him, but literally his striking looked just like him. It was
yeah.
crazy.
One point Dean Thomas said is Wellington Turman went down from middleweight because he was fighting guys that were too big for him, but then he gets matched up against Randy Brown at welterweight, right? And it showed. I think he just couldn't handle the size and reach of Randy Brown. Uh, and it's tough because he's not as big as Pereira. The only reason Pereira gets away with the way he fights is because he's so long and big. right? And he's able to use his kicks almost as punches with how long he is, right? With Wellington Turman, man, like every time he got close, Randy Brown was just wrapping him up and throwing him against the cage, right, and landing. Uh, Definitely not a good fight for Wellington Turman, man. I think he needs to go back to the drawing board because if you're fighting guys that big, right, you can't be fighting like that, right? And for Randy Brown, it was a good win. He did what he had to do, especially after the first round. He definitely improved the game plan. Showed he was better in the grappling realm and standing realm. Uh, Randy Brown reminds me a lot of the next guys we're going to talk about in the next fight, Phil Rowe, Neil Magny, because it's these super long and lengthy welterweights that just seem to not have power in their shots, and they're just long. If you get what I'm saying, like they all they do is grapple against the cage.
Pause.
Well, you know what I mean. Like they don't hit hard. They don't. Their striking is very much 1-2s. I don't know. Randy Brown, man, like he might have to put on some muscle and go up to middleweight because welterweight, like guys like that just don't. They make it so far. They don't make it all the way at that weight class because you compromise a lot of weight and muscle for length and reach, right? And I think that's a problem for guys that try to be so big in the lower weight classes. But we'll talk about it with this next fight as well. So
And then rounding off the end of the prelims, we had Neil Magny versus Phil Rowe. Um, I think this was one of the more boring fights on the card. But Neil Magny, getting the split decision win here, which I also agree with. I also believe that it could have went either way.
it was so boring. This fight, it was a snooze fest. Like yeah, Neil Magny struck more on the feet, and that's what won him the fight. But it wasn't anything impressive. Like these guys were just cage fighting most of the time, up against cage, and I don't know. I wasn't a fan of this fight at all, especially considering both these guys are BJJ black belts. I wanted to see more on the ground, which we had some moments, but it wasn't. It wasn't exciting at all. Neil Magny is the Derek Brunson of the welterweight division that's been established. He showed again last night. Phil Roman, so much potential. He's so good. I don't know what it is. I think again, guys at that height and build in those weight classes, it just doesn't work well for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, no, this fight was a snooze fest. I don't got much to say about it. I would have been mad the decision gone either way. And Neil Magny gets to live on as again the Derek Brunson of the welterweight division. So good for him.
Yep. And then starting the main card, which I don't know why this fight was so low on the card, but should have been maybe co-main or up there a little higher. But Brandon Allen versus Bruno Silva. Brandon Allen, Brandon Allen's just so good, bro. Like his submission game, like he's good on the ground. He's good on the feet now. He's a little better on the feet. And after coming off, his loss, now he's got like how many straight wins? Three wins.
I think it's 3, yeah.
And then Bruno Silva's not no scrub, Bruno Silva, I know this is a short notice fight, but good props to Brendan Allen for getting the win here.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, Brendan Allen's coming off 5 straight wins now since his loss to Chris Curtis.
Okay, fine.
And still, he looks so impressive in every single fight, man. Whether it's his grappling, his stand-up game, he just seems to get better every single fight, right? And he's so young as well that there's still room to improve, and he's getting better and better. I think if he would have fought Jack Hermanson in this fight, it would have been a more challenging fight, but I still think he would have won it. That's how good Brendan Allen is getting. Kill Cliff FC guy, got Daniel Gracie as well. Shout out Daniel Gracie. But no, Brendan Allen, man, he looks so good. That finish, the way he chased it, the way he was destroying Bruno Silva. I definitely want to see Brendan Allen fight some of the higher ranked middleweights, man. It was a shame Jack Hermanson pulled out. But for Brendan Allen to still take the fight against the replacement and win, I think the UFC definitely does owe him one of the ranked guys in the division. And Brendan Allen, man, he's got star written all over him. It's gonna be impressive to see just how far he can take it.
Yeah. Then we got David Onama getting a uppercut and a KO win over Gabriel Santos. Coming off his UFC debut, which he looked pretty good in his debut. So props to David Onama for knocking him out because I like Gabriel Santos after his short notice debut fight. So just caught him with the mean uppercut and finished him. So good fight.
Yeah, shout out David Onama. He cussed twice in the post fight interview, and Daniel Cormier's like, "That's the second time you've cussed. We're on ABC." Like, okay, DC, thank you, we appreciate it. Uh, but no, David Onama looks so good, man. He switched camps, and after the Nate Landwehr fight, you could tell there's a good fighter in there. He just needed to relax, right, and kind of put it all together and rely on his technique more. And he did, and he looked so good in this fight. That mean uppercut was so. It was a good fight. Before that, it was a really good fight from both these guys. Um, Gabriel Santos going for submissions and stuff, and it just, yeah, David Onama impressed me. This fight, I think he still has a lot of room to grow, but it's a good start, especially at featherweight. He's very big for the weight class. Good win, man, and honestly, a good fight. Like I said, we didn't really have many bad fights on this card, but yeah, good win for David Onama. Gonna be impressed to see what they have next for him because he definitely looks like he's game. Every fight he fights, he's definitely um goes in there looking for a fight.
Yeah. And then we had the no contest between Austin Lane and Justin Taffa because of the eye poke. And I know we hate the ex NFL players that try to make it in the UFC, but I'm not gonna lie, Austin Lane didn't look bad. I mean,
No,
he didn't look bad. He looked like he was gonna get Justin Taffa out of there. And Justin Taffa's a guy, he's not the best, but we have respect for him. So,
right. It
whatever.
sucks because Justin Taffa, like I said, it only takes one shot with him to finish a fight. But Austin Lane looks so good, man, so good. It's a shame the way this fight ended. It's part of the fight game. Taffa literally had blood coming out of his eye or whatever. So I mean, it happens. It's part of the game. It sucks. Hopefully, they can get this fight rebooked at some point. But I was excited for it, and I'm not mad because it wasn't intentional. The way it ended, it is what it is, and we move on. Hopefully, this fight gets rebooked.
Yep. And goodbye the ref, actually let him get the full 5 minutes. I've seen fights where they don't even get the full 5 minutes before they call it. So
Yeah.
then we had the co-main, another surprising fight. Not surprising because of talent, just surprising because of just not seen in the past. Amanda Ribas versus Macy Barber. Macy Barber getting the finish over Amanda Ribas, KOing her. And just Macy Barber, she was getting caught, but she decided, I wanted to scrap this fight, and she got her out of there. And Amanda Ribas is a girl that we both respect, we both like as a fighter. And I honestly thought Amanda Ribas was probably going to win this fight, so I thought she was going to upset her, but looks like Macy Barber got the win here.
Yeah, and for Macy Barber, she needed this win very bad. Especially all her decisions lately have been very suspect in the eyes of the fans. But she made a statement this fight, and she was getting caught, but she was also firing back. And for Amanda Ribas, it sucks because she's a good fighter. We like her, but she definitely does seem to get exposed on the feet in fights like this.
Yeah,
And
she just has her hands too low. She just goes.
yeah, and Macy Barber was landing with bad intentions. She chased the finish. The ref gave. Yeah, he was got every chance from the ref, and Macy did her job and finished the fight. Very good win for her. She says she wants the Alexa Grasso rematch, belt or no belt. Um, I don't know how to feel about that necessarily, but it's a good win for her. It's
Yeah,
something where let's see.
especially coming off, a week where she's talking about Juliana's comments about Amanda Nunes. Like she's out here talking about people who, are ex champs and competing for championships. So you got to go out and show yourself. You can't go and have another win like she had before, where it was like a split decision.
Yeah, I think for Macy, it's very limited the fight she can get at flyweight, especially now that Rose is fighting Manon Fiorot. Fiorot, I mean.
Finally, Rose is fighting.
Yeah, and Aaron Blanchfield getting booked against, it was Tyler Santos, right? Yeah, got booked against Tyler Santos. So yeah, there's a very much a cluster up at the top of flyweight. Some only fights she could really get is Jennifer Maya, Lauren Murphy, Sermonara, and Jessica Andrade. Right? I think her calling out Alexa Grasso. I admire the ambition, but that fight's not quite there yet, in my opinion. So, but good win for her. Very good win. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, in a division where I think, Valentina doesn't have that much longer to go. You got Amanda retiring, so she doesn't really have the Amanda rematch to fight for. There's really no fights to go for. If she beats Alexa Grasso, what stops, Shevchenko from retiring. She
Right.
might retire this year, or she might fight one more time,
Right.
defend her belt one more time, and then retire. So
Yep.
you never know. So going into the main event, we had one of the best performances I've ever seen. Josh Emmett versus Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria, the jab, the defense, only getting hurt like one or two times the whole fight. And in a fight where he could have finished Josh Emmett like 10 times, in a fight where a guy is very dangerous, Josh Emmett is a guy who hurt Yair. So,
Right.
and Yair is a guy who, had a tough fight against Max Holloway who could have finished Max Holloway. So, this is a great performance. I think this is, top five performance I've ever seen. I swear. Like, his
Right.
boxing was so good. Like, it was perfect, literally perfect. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
this fight gave me it reminded me of Holloway versus Cater in a way. Just so the it's insane, and it was the boxing, the leg kicks. The leg kicks were destroying him, and then he got those takedowns as well. Like every facet of the game, Ilia Topuria. You gotta say, Ilia Topuria comes from a grappling background. Ilia Topuria comes from a jiu-jitsu and Greco-Roman background, and he's out here boxing like he's been boxing his whole life. Like it's insane how good he is. His brother as well. His brother is now 5-0
well,
as well.
he was born in Germany.
Yeah, he was born in Germany. He moved to Georgia at the age of 7, and then he moved to Spain at the age of 15. And in those stops, he has fought and trained with some of the best killers in the world. He's so good, man. And like Marab was there supporting his boy. They had a very wholesome moment after the fight, the press conference as well. Elliot Topuria, man, he's the people's champ. The way he fights, the way he is, man, I love it. I love his personality inside and outside the cage. The man was drinking wine during his weight cut, which is something you don't see often. He makes it work, man. He looks so good. He didn't look in danger at all, except for maybe one moment in the fight. But when you look back on it, it was more of Emmett's momentum kind of pushed him against the cage, and he was just trying. I respect what Ilya was doing. He wasn't trying to go too hard in the fifth round. He saw that Josh Emmett was already like destroyed. I respect that. I respect that because your job is to go in there and win. You don't want to seriously hurt a guy that's too tough for his own good. I respect that because Josh Emmett had no business fighting that fifth round, and I respect Josh Emmett for that. The heart that he had in him to keep fighting, to keep going for the finish. This is what makes mixed martial arts great. When two guys go in and are willing to die on their sword, that's the kind of fights that us as fans and even people that don't watch MMA see these fights and it brings them into the sport, right? Because these are two guys that are just going out there putting on all out war. And Ilya Topuria, man, reminded me of Jose Aldo back in the day, if I'm being honest, man. His how clean his striking is. Um, I want this guy to go to the moon. I really do. And there's a lot of good fights you can make for him at featherweight. He said he wants Max Holloway in Spain. Arnold Allen's another fight you can make for him.
You can fight at lightweight too.
Yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit for this guy. I think this guy has all the potential in the world to be the next big champion in the UFC, a kind of big
This
star that the UFC
This is
has.
one of the fights where I hate to say this, but I like because I like the fighters to fight die on their sword. But this might be one of the fights where the coach, the refs, or the team could have waved the white flag, doing the
Yeah,
tackle because he was done, man. His face was destroyed by round three. So
right.
it reminds me of like that Joanna Jędrzejczyk fight or Jędrzejczyk. I can't say her last name. Joanna
Yeah,
versus
Jake.
Wei Lee. Yeah, versus
Yeah,
Wei Lee. Her face, like should have been stopped, but it was also great to see the whole 5 rounds play out as well. And for the judge that scored it 50, what did he score it 50 44?
10-7. Yeah,
No, 50.
10-7.
That's based. That's a base take. I like that take. That's the most based scorecard I've ever seen in my life. 2 10-8s. I like that. That's
Yeah,
that's
everybody got mad
based.
because Chris Lee gave it 10-7, but let's be honest, it was a 10-7. It was like that round, which was four. Yeah, I think it was four. Um, Either way, all the other rounds you could have given 10-8s, except for maybe the
Oh, he did
first.
it 10-7. I thought he did 2 10-8s.
No, he did 10-7. That's what people were mad about. He gave it 10-7. But let's be
He did
honest,
2 10-8s.
I would have done two 10-8s as well. I'm not mad at a 10-7. It was just, like I said, there's no point in the fight that Ilya Topuria was losing this fight. He was so dominant. And the dude against Josh Emmett is no joke either. Josh Emmett is a very good fighter, right? Who's fought some of the best names and beaten some of the best names at featherweight, right, and lightweight. So I mean, yeah, I'm very happy. Ilya guy has won. I'm a big fan of Ilya Topuria. Let's see what's next for him, man.
I'm
I
not gonna
think,
lie though. I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie. This is kind of karma for Josh Emmett getting that fake win over Calvin Cater.
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of happy he lost because he kind of got a free win. Like he did not win that fight.
yeah, yeah. I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, now at featherweight, like I said, there's a lot of fights you can make for him at featherweight.
I would have wanted to see him fight Calvin. That'd be a good fight.
I think Ilya still beats Calvin, but it would be a good fight. I agree. Um, before we go to the next card, what would you give this card?
I mean, hey, for they got some of these fight nights, seeming like feeling like pay-per-views. Like I was getting chills yesterday, and I was feeling the event seemed like it was lit. The crowd seemed like they were booing when they needed to boo too as well. So, they were based,
Yeah,
the based crowd, it wasn't like a mainstream crowd. They knew what we wanted to see because they were cheering for certain grappling exchanges too. They just wanted to see something. But I'll give it for a fight night, I'll give it an 8. Almost a 9. I would have gave it a 9 maybe if they had a better co-main.
yeah, I
But
agree. I agree. I think they again they had to work around a couple of fight cancellations and stuff. But they still pulled off a great card. I definitely give it an 8 as well. Very good. And I think again, like I said, fight nights with the crowd and not at the Apex are so much better. They are miles better than at the Apex. Before we go to the next card, some news out of PFL. I don't know if you saw this, but two fighters got suspended for putting
this
on
is like so
lackluster
bad.
fight. So Raj Manfio and Nate Schultz. Nate Schultz is the godfather of his daughter and training partner, and they both put on a very boring fight. And so PFL suspended them and stripped them of their points for the season. Manfield's manager coming out saying it's distasteful and necessary. These guys know each other well because they fight with each other and train, so you can't expect them to like expose each other. I think that's a cop out. I definitely I love that PFL did that. I wish more promotions did that. Honestly, just suspending guys for putting on bad fights, right?
Yeah.
You know.
I
So
mean,
yeah, they
UFC kind of cuts people. I mean, UFC does cut people when they put a bad fight.
yeah, no, for sure. But to be that public with it, I loved what PFL did. Olivier Aubin Mercier won, got knockout. Sadibu C got that wheel kick. I don't know if you saw that wheel kick. That wheel kick knockout was nasty. He won as well. And then Shane Burgos finally got a win in PFL. Got unanimous decision, dominant win.
Yeah,
Uh, other
finally
than that,
somebody from the UFC got a win in the PFL.
yeah. Other than that, not much to look at there. So we're going to go on to the next card. This weekend at the Apex, Sean Strickland versus Abus Magomedov. This card looks really good, actually. Really good looking up and down at it.
Yeah, I mean, a fight, that I'm interested right here, the Max Griffin versus Michael Morales. I think, that's going to be a good on the feet fight. Um, I like
Yeah.
Michael Morales a lot. And then Ariane Lipsky, you can see, she starts, progressing in her UFC career because she has some skills. And then they got Kevin Lee in the prelims. Um,
Yeah, he's a 180 underdog against Renat Fakhretdinov.
and he's probably fighting a newcomer who's undefeated type shit.
Yeah, which, hey,
So
Kevin
yeah,
Lee, wanted,
he's fighting a
Kevin
guy
Lee
that's
wanted to come
24.
back. Kevin Lee wanted to come back, bro. He asked for it. That's
Yeah.
his fault.
And then Yana Santos versus Carla Rosa. Might have to test her for PEDs because her hubby got popped, so she knows. But all you
Uh,
gotta do is take birth control, and birth control's gear. So
yeah, the fight start in the card is also good. Guram Kutaladze against Elvis Brenner. Romanov versus Ivanov is an underrated fight. I like both those guys a lot. Luana Carolina against Petrovic is going to be an interesting fight as well. Bruno Ferreira fighting a guy that's 1-2. You see that?
yeah,
Nur Sultan Ruzbiov, 1-2 in his career, is his UFC debut. Coming off two straight losses as well. Gets to go to the UFC. This ought to be interesting. Um, let's see. Oh, Benoit Saint Denis against Ismail Bonfim. Benoit Saint Denis, if you remember, was a guy fought on the Paris card, Cyril Gans card, guy that used to be Special Forces in France. Very good
Yeah.
fighter. I'm excited for
All
that
the
fight.
ex special forces guy are code, you know.
Yes. Yeah. Michael Morales, though, like you brought up that fight. I love Michael Morales, man. He's the future. He's so good. I'm very excited for that. Ismagulov versus Grant Dawson. It's not a fight to sleep at either. Like there's honestly, other than the Bruno Ferreira fight, there's not a bad fight on this card. For being honest,
Yeah, I
like
mean, you got two ranked lightweight fighters. I mean, that's gonna be a banger fight.
yeah. And then Sean Strickland, we know what he gives us every time. But Abus Magomedov, he's so good, man. Like that first fight, we fought the when he fought the German guy and he kicked him, and we watched that fight because I was on the Gon card, the UFC Paris card, and he like his toe was in his mouth. He kicked him so hard, like
The
he's
niggas
so
stole foods or some shit. Stole food
yeah
system.
Stoffels, yeah he beat Stoffels, yeah. So this is gonna be a very banging card, man. Definitely, you guys are gonna see some fight breakdowns coming your way. We apologize for last
The
week.
Riverside works, bro.
Yeah, we apologize for last week. We had some technical difficulties with the platform that we put this on. Uh, we're gonna try to get you some breakdowns if we can this week, because there's a lot of good fights to look at on this card.
Any other news we gotta go over?
Let's see.
Any
Other
big
news.
fights? I mean, you got the Rose fight they got announced.
Yeah, Rose moving up in weight class to fight Manon Fiorot. Fiorot. I can never say your name right. I don't. Doesn't make sense to me if I'm being honest. Rose moving up in weight class. I think she's too small for 125, but we'll see. We'll make it work.
Let's look at the featherweights. So, what fight do you think would be best for Ilya Topuria to have next? So he's gonna be ranked number 4 or 5.
5. Yeah.
Then I'll have Arnold Allen, Brian Ortega, Max Holloway, Yair's fighting Volk. So we got to see what's gonna happen. You know, I think if Yair wins, I think you think Volk gets an automatic rematch.
Yes. Yeah, he has to. Has
I
to. I
hate
mean,
that shit. It's just so annoying though.
but he has to. It's Volk is one of the greatest champs in UFC history. He's earned the right for a rematch. If he
It's
wins
a
that fight.
rematch. So I'd rather see. I think Ilya should fight. Arnold Allen. I think Arnold Allen
Yes. Yes.
the best guy. I mean, Brian Ortega, he's good, but I don't know if he like. I don't know. I think Arnold Allen's better. So.
No, I agree. Giga Chikadze supposedly, so Giga Chikadze supposedly supposed to be um Brian Ortega's next fight, but that fight hasn't been finalized.
Ooh, hopefully, I need my boy
Uh,
Giga to come back, please.
yeah, that fight hasn't been finalized. I'd say yeah, have Ilya fight Arnold Allen. I mean, he wants to wait for Max. I get that. Um, but I would fight Arnold Allen. I think him staying active is the best thing he can do. Especially
But
he didn't take much damage in that fight, you know.
I
So
do think Max Holloway destroys
Korean Zombie.
Green Zombie, and then I think he does. I don't think he still could get the Volk fight after that. I think he still needs one more fight.
Yep.
So maybe that Ilya fight is perfect because
Yeah.
if Ilya wins that, then that's a perfect. Then there's no doubt that he fights Volk.
Yeah, and Ilya and Max fight so similar as well in some ways. So I mean, it'd be a perfect fight to make. If we're being honest. Just
That,
yeah, I think that would be a good fight to make. Again, we have to see. Thankfully, the next pay per view is Volk versus Yair, so we're going to be able to get some more answers. After that, let's see any other fight announcements that I can think of.
another
Uh,
week that I think Connor's team goes like 0-5 at Tough. I haven't been watching it. I ain't gonna lie.
yeah, it's this thing. The finale for Tough is going to be at the UFC 292. Sorry. Um,
That Boston card, bro, is gonna be crazy.
that Boston card's gonna be insanely good. Oh yeah, Anthony Smith versus Ryan Spann on the Korean Zombie Max Holloway card in Singapore.
Yeah, boo. I don't want to watch Anthony Smith fight. Sorry. Um,
Which I
yeah,
don't get. Anthony Smith already beat Ryan Spann. Why are they remaking this fight? Like,
because nobody wants to fight Anthony Smith because he's like doesn't help you go up anymore. But he's also not like super dog shit.
I ain't gonna lie,
But
light heavyweight's so trash right now.
wait, and
Um,
then they also said that I think Henry Cejudo might be hurt for the Cheeto fight.
uh, so Cheeto confirmed that that fight's happening. Cheeto confirmed it. The UFC
It's
confirmed it.
not even on the UFC page yet.
Um, from from what I saw, it was because I know Cheeto confirmed it. Cheeto or well,
Not,
and the thing is, but like you said, nothing from Cejudo, yet. Yeah. So
that's not on the
So
card.
yeah, Sean. Yeah, so Sean O'Malley talked about it. Blah blah. Blah. I mean, this fight looks like it's confirmed. Like they haven't necessarily announced it officially yet, other than Cheeto Vera posting that it's done.
I mean, we'll get to this card when we're closer to time. But if you're looking at the card right now, this card's crazy. But we'll talk
Yeah,
about it when we get there.
and
We'll talk about it when we get there. Let's wait. Let's wait till a
no, for
future.
sure, for sure. It's just it's tough because Cejudo hasn't said anything about it. Also, can I be honest? I'm gonna take a page out of Morning Combat. I forget the guy's name in Morning Combat. I love him though. Shout out to him. But he said something very true. Why are we rooting for a Mark Zuckerberg versus Elon Musk fight? That is so dumb. I don't want to see that fight. I
I
don't.
do. I do.
At a UFC pay per view card, no. That's the he want. Dana wants to do it at UFC
That would be
300.
that would be pure entertainment.
I think Zuck wins that so easily. For being honest,
Put $1 billion bounty up.
yeah. Uh, so yeah, and then looking a
I
little
think
bit
Zuck wins
forward.
it, but Zuck weighs like 155. Elon weighs like 230, bro.
Yeah, yeah, but Elon's also like 55, so and Zuck's 39, so I don't know.
Zuck's a
Uh,
robot.
I'm looking at the pay per view for Yair and Volk.
Why are you going too far ahead?
No, well, that's our next pay per view after the fight. Now we'll get to that next week, but this is looking banging right now. We You got names like Sean Brady, Dylan Madalena, Bo Nickel, Cameron Simon, Rubovitz from Argentina, Jimmy Crute, Robbie Lawler, Bo Nickel. I said Robert Whitaker, Moreno.
We're getting closer and closer to that fucking. Yeah, this is the Rob Whitaker versus Drakus fight. Oh,
Yep, yep,
oh.
yep.
Yeah,
Dan Hooker,
this card
Dan
is
Hooker
gonna
versus Jalen Turner.
this card is gonna shape the UFC.
Bro, Dan Hooker versus Jalen Turner as well on there. Denise Gomez against Yasmin Yaregi. Oh my goodness, bro.
And our
I
boy
did not see how
Victor,
good this card
Victor
was.
Petrino versus Marcin Prachnio.
Oh my gosh, man. Dog, this card is nuts.
Cameron Simon is on the card as well.
Yes, dude, this card is insane. Oh man.
But we'll get to that. That'll
We
do it.
will. We
Episode
will.
18 of Glove Talk. Subscribe, follow us on IG at the Glove Talk Podcast, and see you guys next week.
All right. Oh, drug test the judges.